Okay, I'm going to walk you through how I plan a night sky shot using AccuWeather, Google Earth and Stellarium. So first of all you need to download Stellarium, which is here. It's just quite simple, just click on that and then choose which one you want here and just download that. Same with AccuWeather, just give you a look at AccuWeather, just download that as well. What I really like about AccuWeather for planning is you come over to here, you can have hourly forecasts. So when you've worked out when you're going to have a nice clear night, I mean obviously this is today and it's quite cloudy, but if we go into the next 8 hours and have a look for tonight, it's mostly cloudy all night, but if this was to say that it was mostly clear or clear, you can see there's a little it's telling you that it's just a slither of a moon as well. So if this was clear here at 10 p.m. you could say, okay, here's my window of opportunity, and from 10 p.m. to midnight, for instance. So if you scroll down, you've got your moonrise and moonset, sunrise, sunset, which is very handy for planning, especially your moonset, because you don't want any moon. So yeah, I find AccuWeather, and it is very accurate as well. So yeah, that's that. And of course Google Earth. So now you have to plan your shot. You're going to have clear skies. So just for instance, to get Google Earth, obviously you just download Google, and Google Earth is up in the search bar. But if I just bring that up, and a friend of mine, Sue, had told me about the church at little church at Mount Shank, which I didn't even know was there, and I'll show you why when we find it. But yeah, so that was I'd already had in my head that this was going to be my next shot. As soon as I had those clear skies and no moon. So once we'd worked out where it is, and I got on here and searched until I found it, and then I just found it here, and you can see, I mean, I've driven past it plenty of times, but it's basically surrounded by trees. There's a little gap here and a little gap here, but that's about it. So Google Earth always is north and south, and so we want obviously east and west, because this time of year, early in the year, the Milky Way rises in roughly southeast earlier in the night. So if we look here at the little church, the driveway's here, the gate's just here. It's almost perfect gap in the trees coming out to southeast. So, without even going out there yet and knowing that the Milky Way is rising in the southeast, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get a good composition and a good shot here, depending on the moon set for that night. And I ended up getting the shots on April the 15th, and the moon, I'm not exactly sure what time the moon set that night, but it was still setting when I drove out there. And I think it was around 11 o'clock, the moon set, from memory. So that determines where the Milky Way is going to be, because I'll show you when we go down to Stellarium here. Later in the night, as the Milky Way comes up, it moves further east until it's almost east-northeast. So these trees we're going to here on the east, so that's easterlies out through here, and east northeast is out through here. So these trees we're going to determine the composition, and obviously the Milky Way needs to be high in the sky to get up over these trees and catch the church. As you can see, it's going to be a tight, there's not a lot of room in here. So I was still pretty confident that I would get a good shot, and as long as everything worked out okay. So if we go into Stellarium, when you open Stellarium, this is what you see. It's always sort of opens pointing south, and during the day, this is just you can change this view. This is just what they put there. It's just a horizon. You can pull up and down. If you move your cursor, I won't go into what all these icons do. It does so many things. It's such a fantastic program, software. But what you use the most is the time and date. And so we'll go back to 15th of April when I took the shots, and so you can see starting to go now into late afternoon, and at 7 o'clock you can just faintly start to see the real southern arm of the Milky Way there. But if we come down here to atmosphere, flick that off, and then you'll see a much clearer Milky Way core. And as you can see, it's it's almost perfectly at 7 o'clock. It's not far after sunset, really, a couple of hours. There's not much of it up. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of core there, but it's pretty low. But remembering back, if we go another to 8 o'clock, and it's almost perfectly southeast. We're just starting to get some core there, which is it's quite nice, really. And remembering back to our shot, southeast out through here, with the composition shooting from here, getting on that front corner of the church and then out through southeast, it's going to make a nice composition. But unfortunately, we had a moon, so the moon's going to spoil that shot. So the moon determined, what time we were going to shoot. So let's just say the moon set at 11. So if we move on to 11, you can see it's gone right around to east. It's quite high in the sky now, though. It's a beautiful Milky Way. So even go to midnight. Pretty sure I got home maybe 1 o'clock, 1:30 from this. So I think I was still shooting it around at this time, possibly even a little bit later, 12:30. So as you can see, the core's moved past east, and it's almost northeast now. But it's sitting beautifully in the sky. But it's not southeast, and that's, unfortunately, that's just how it turned out. But I went and took the shot anyway. But I will just go back, and so that's the planning. The planning's done. I've looked at AccuWeather. I know when the moon set is. I know there's not going to be any cloud. It's going to be clear at around that moon set. So let's all go. There was just one more thing that I knew that I had to do before I went out there that night. And because this is quite isolated here at Mount Shank, and its houses close by, I didn't want to be pulling up here at 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, shining torches around, because before you know it, you're going to have the police there. These people live just right here. You get the car door closing, and you be as quiet as you can. But as it turned out, I think there was a herd of dairy cattle somewhere that heard my diesel and thought they were getting fed, and they just mooed the whole time anyway. But anyway, I drove out late that afternoon. I think I shot this on a Monday night, and I think I went for a drive on the Sunday afternoon, and went and visited these people and just let them know, and they were fine with it. So it's just worth spending that little bit of time to do that. It just saves you getting a visit and having to explain what you're doing to the police. And so now I've looked at Stellarium, it's all go, and I went out and took the shots, and like I said, by the time the moon had set, the Milky Way unfortunately had gone far over to the east, and this isn't my favourite composition of the church, and it's a little bit tight, but it's still pretty, it's still nice. I bet you can see, because it didn't have much room, in here. I had to get right back in here, right back in this corner, and it's actually in under the trees to get that shot. So yeah, and you can see, that's not a bad shot. It sort of frames the Milky Way up, and I really like it. The Milky Way come up beautiful, and the church is nice. So yeah, there's that one, and there's this one. I didn't like this shot at all. The Milky Way come up all right, but the church is very bland, and sort of didn't really like the windows. And I actually did kick the tripod, and you can see there's a little bit of, it's not a great shot. I don't like it. I didn't use it anywhere. But this is by far my favourite shot of the night. This is the best composition of the church, and this is true southeast out through here. And as I showed you earlier, if I could have got here at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, the core would have been low, but we would have got a nice Milky Way core just sitting directly above the church here. And that shot can still be had, depending on when the moon sets. I can come back and do that. But, you don't. The Milky Way, by the way, was just up here, just out of shot. But you don't always need the Milky Way in your shot to get a beautiful night sky. I mean, the stars are beautiful. I think it's just a lovely shot. I really like it. It's really good composition with the trees. And yeah, you get a much better view of the church. So yeah, that's how I did it. And like I said, most of it was planned from home. So yeah, all went really well. And I was really happy with the shot in the end. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And thanks for watching.